to pull up a video here by a tweet here by Dr. Alison Wiltz, and to me, it illustrates everything that's wrong with the conversations we're having in this country right now. Let me pull this up for you real quick here, and it just says George Floyd was a father too, and Charlie Kirk called him a scumbag. A couple of things here. First, yeah, he was a father, but objectively, this was not a good person. Objectively, George Floyd was not a good person. Drug addict, career criminal, threatened with a weapon, a pregnant woman while robbing her house. Like, objectively, a scumbag. Objectively, a true statement. Just because he's a father, there's plenty of scumbag fathers out there. What's interesting to me, though, is this doesn't happen to white people. What do I mean by that? It means that only black people are required to identify in some way with George Floyd, a law-abiding, hardworking father who's never been in trouble, who's not on drugs, who's never had an interaction with the police, has to identify with George Floyd as if they have something other than an arbitrary physical characteristic in common. They don't. White people are not required to identify with white people just because they happen to have the same color skin. If a very similar situation happened, let's take George Floyd's skin color out of the equation and say a white person with George Floyd's exact history was killed in the exact same way that George Floyd was. Nobody would be going, this is because he was white, or you as a white person have to identify with him and protest and be angry and upset that this happened. I don't. He met an end that his life and his life experiences and his life choices, he met an end, though whether you think it's justified or unjustified, he met an end that was very much in line with the life that he lived. Why would a white person have to care about that? They don't, and nobody thinks they do. But if you are a black person, if you're a person of color, what am I? I don't have anything in common with George Floyd just because my skin tone may be in. We have this thing in common where we're not white people, we're not Caucasian people. So what? I'm supposed to go out and think that I have something in common with this person? I don't. Why am I supposed to feel outraged that a career drug addict and criminal died? And this is what the political left wants. It is this constant victimization mentality that if this happens, if a bad thing happens to a bad person, but that bad person happens to have a similar skin tone as yours, you should be upset about this because you two are part of the same group of people. But you're not. Other than this one arbitrary physical characteristic, you don't have anything in common. So who cares? Yeah, he was a father. That's terrible that his kids don't have their father anymore. But that doesn't make him a good person. I don't think anybody would look at his life history and go, this was a good person. Why is this a topic of conversation? That's the question. I want somebody on the political left to answer this question for me. Why should a law-abiding, hardworking person of color be upset that a drug addict, a drug-addicted career criminal died at the hands of the police? Why should they be any more upset about that person because of his skin tone than a white person should be about the exact same type of person? Why? Why only in that community? I'll tell you why. It's because career activists don't want to go get real jobs. And so, in order to perpetuate the victim mentality and make themselves feel like they have something to do, they're willing to literally victimize the black community through this gaslighting, and instead of like acknowledging the fact that there's a ton of opportunity for every single person. Your skin color has nothing to do with how much success you're going to have in life. They don't want to acknowledge that because then there's nothing for them to do and they have to go and get real jobs. And that's it. It's that simple. Everything about this is self-aggrandizing. I've had these conversations a million times with a million liberals, and I'm done pretending like they care about anything else but how spreading this message makes them feel good about themselves, despite the harm it may be doing to the broader community. I'm tired of it, and I'm not doing it anymore.